Oh, hello everybody. What a surprise to see you here. Yeah, I was just doing the walk around. Just doing the walk around now on the the Citation X. Well, hello and welcome into the stream. As you can see, out here on the ramp at Barcelona Prat Airport International, I'm really looking forward to today. Actually, we got two reasons. One, I've not flown in the Citation for a couple of days, and I've not done a long haul flight. And two, because I got my new honeycomb throttle quadrants. That's right. So now I'm kicking the yoke and the throttle, so it's really cool to use those together. And after some practice yesterday, it's actually probably one of the best yokes and throttle combos you can buy on the market. It is a little bit pricey, but you gain quality product for your price. Yeah, so just in the middle of the walk around the Citation X, it's also interesting, just before we sort of kick off on this flight, to see over the last week there's like huge shift in YouTube, because I do watch other YouTubers obviously, and or maybe not obviously, but I watch them. I watch other simmers who play on the flight sims. I know X-Plane, Microsoft, quite a few of them, and the Microsoft Flight Simulator Citation X has just kicked off like a complete storm. It's like it's gone really well with the customers, and people are giving the developers really good feedback. So as someone who plays, I don't play that. I had a brief trial, but as someone who did play it and trial it and who sticks to X-Plane mostly, it's good to hear that Microsoft have now got a Citation X on board, which is great. And judging by the look of it, it does look exactly the same kind of model as the one on X-Plane. But it's obviously a lot more detailed and you can interact with a lot more. This one on the Citation X on X-Plane 12, personally, I absolutely love it. It comes with a base game. I think LMML Research did an absolute cracking job of the aircraft, not just in terms of design, but in terms of the aerodynamics as well. Since the 12 been to release, the sort of visual fidelity and even the handling to some extent has significantly improved, which makes me pretty, positive about the future, because if that's the sort of direction LMML Research are going, I mean, this to me is an ultra realistic aircraft, and this is probably as realistic as it's going to get. So don't get me wrong, the Microsoft one looks fantastic and I'm super glad they're enjoying it, but for me, I will always stick with the default laminar one because it's obviously included, so why buy another one? Anyway, we're going to just check the wheel well on the right, left side, and then we'll hop in the aircraft. I did give the wing on the other side a quick scan. Just bang my head a little bit. Ow. Just crouch in there. Yeah, so not much detail inside. I think that's where the Microsoft one stands out. Obviously, it's been done by a real developer, and I watched again another YouTuber who actually spent, well-known YouTuber by the way, who spent time with the developers, and while they were in the actual real Citation. Again, a few more YouTubers. The actual pilot, well, the Citation was a famous one. You should go on YouTube and look for it, and you'll probably find him. It's not hard. Anyway, we're gonna crack the door open. This is my first. Like, I wish I want Laminar to get rid of these pilots so we can. Obviously, when we turn the battery on, that should be when they spawn in. I think that would be a good point. And then we're gonna hop in. Here's the. This is so much better, isn't it? The ability to use. Ah, okay, I see. So we can't walk up the actual doors. But yeah, that's so good to see. Like they switched on the honeycomb working. Anyway, we're gonna sort of hop inside. There we go. Today, so the throttle has been programmed and we've got a flight plan downloaded. I'll hide the yokes for the time being. We're going to crack on with the checklist.
Aircraft doors.
Let's just turn that lady's voice off. I think we're all used to it by now. So voice prompt off. Again, I'm super excited about today. It's been a while since I've hopped in, especially with the new yoke. Obviously the yoke I've been using, but the throttles I haven't, so it'd be really cool to check those out. Let me just give you a quick show on the settings. So here's the honeycomb Bravo. So these are pre-programmed. I had to put them in reverse axes to get them to work. I have tried to program the reverse thrusters. It seems to be doing it whole reverse thrusters at max. Let's see if that actually works in flight. Okay, so we do need to, first of all, we need to get refueled. So we need to go back onto the IS. I could call ground services. Let's do that. That won't actually refuel us. Unfortunately, we need 2,500. No, 1,500 kg of fuel. 1534. I don't mind taking extra for the citation. No, we're going to be cruising at 45,000 feet. Passengers, so scheduled actually in Simbury for total with 9 passengers. That's not too bad. So that'll be 2 crew. I'd like to round it up about 135 for 2 people. And 4 in the middle, so I always forget the numbers. Let's just put full cabin. And then baggage, a good couple of 100 kg on there, 225. If you're wondering why I don't just type it in, it does have some issues saving the actual number when you type it, as opposed to sliding it. So yeah, ICAO fueled. Standby power. It's also very cool to see the differences. Obviously there's the design differences and the visual differences. You'll know Microsoft has that glow to it, whereas X-Plane is more crisp, more realistic in appearance. But it's interesting to see all the people trying the style procedure and doing it differently. The chat list I follow, I think it's pretty accurate, to be honest, for the aircraft. Having watched obviously videos on it myself. Okay, we don't have external power. We do have generators, of course, and we have an ICAO switch, an avionics switch, and we have now fuel boost. Don't actually. I press it on my throttle quadrant. You can hear it sort of start, and then it goes off, and it doesn't make a difference to the switches down there. So I don't know what that might be changing. It must be the fuel boost, but it's not selecting them on. I'll have to change it to fuel boost rather than, so as opposed to having it as fuel pump on jet engine. Let's try that now. Actually, let's try fuel boost. Let me show you while I'm on it. So let's do fuel boost, left down, and then we do up, I think, for that one. And then it's the same for the other switch. Shouldn't really do this in the stream, but I wanted you to get a sort of idea of how to use and program the throttle and things. It is a little bit not quite as common sense as the developer makes out. Especially with some obscure names, because Honeycomb, when it works it's good, but obviously there's some obscure names there to connect and turn things on, which most people probably don't even know about. The avionics 2 switch on the yoke would be one example how people might get confused. Right, let's try that. So we're going to turn it. Right, so that's on. That's working now for fuel boost. That's going up, so I got that the wrong way. Pardon me, everybody. And oh. So there you go. That's as simple. It's really simple. Yeah, really simple. And once you've done it, you can yeah, don't have to worry about using a mouse as much. Obviously I still have to use it for the majority of the things, because obviously the Citation is not the smallest of planes, so there's a lot of things to push. Emergency lights, you know, lighting, oxygen, master and master caution, of course they work on the throttle quadrant. All the enunciations come on when you're in the Citation, which is good. I'm expecting it to be like this all the way as well, so we're not going to get any rough weather, which would be a decent change from the United Kingdom. It's been a bit rough. Let's go and stick on safety. Recognition, navigation lights, skip that. Lead air on high. Iron panel lights set. So as you can see, there's already a bit of a process there before we even get the APU started. APU amps indication there. Once it reaches 100, there we go. Now, see, I've also seen people do the style differently, obviously different chat listing. Well, a lot of people just wing it, don't they? They just make it up as they go. But people know the process in general, they'll get it right. But it's obviously good to follow a checklist to be precise. Yeah, some people put on for bleed air, but the recommendation on the checklist we're using is max bleed air, of course. Max cool. Okay, ATIS information. This is cool. We can get started on this. So we're going to tune in the 122.8 just in case we don't have any ATC. I'm going to have a look now for some communications online. Thank you for bearing with me for the beginning of the stream. It's pretty typical actually to take this long to get started. So that sim is loaded. Not connectable though. Let's try once more. Okay, so that sim can't recognise that X-Plane 12 is running and the flight is loaded. That might be a bit of a problem, everybody. We've encountered the first issue of the day. Typical for streams. Or my permissions may be a bit messed up. Okay, I see. Please bear with me, everybody. I really hope this is not going to affect my stream. Right, thank goodness for that. I downloaded some new software yesterday and it seems to be impacting the ability to connect to VATSIM. Gives the APU and the aircraft a little bit of time to warm up. Yeah, because like I say, VATSIM's not being recognised, so we can't get ATC clearance at the moment. Damn, I knew I should have connected before I went live. The only thing I can suggest then is to continue without ATC, unfortunately, but obviously that's not practical, is it? VATSIM. Says it might be a potential firewall issue, but as far as I'm aware, my firewall shouldn't be blocking it. In fact, nothing should be blocking it. No issues before with it, and it's strange that Prism can disconnected from the internet temporarily as well. It might be a new version of X-Pilot. Sorry everybody for the silence. We are planning to get departing soon. It just says, right, we'll have to continue without that. I'm really sorry to everybody watching. We'll have to continue without it. We'll make it up as we go along. We'll do our call outs anyways. If we're on frequency and we'll switch to 122.8. I'm really sorry everybody. With no IFR clearance, we'll be clearing ourselves. Anyway, we do need to get the FMC position initialized. I think it's better than doing nothing actually. You can't just give up because it doesn't work. So, navigation, we're going to do a bit of navigation today, aren't we, with flight plan. There it is. So we're going to Malta. If you read the description, I did mention a little bit. There's a little bit of a nice history there. In Malta, it's got obviously a very well-known history for the Knights Templar, etc. Knights Hospitalia, who back in the day defeated the Ottomans, you know, in the Battle of Siege of Malta in 1565. So, interesting story there. Tiny island with, you know, a very small amount of people. Let's close that door. Who defended themselves successfully against and essentially an entire army. So they did very well, and that was the second time, I believe, that the Ottomans had attacked the Knights Hospitalia. Obviously the first time they weren't very successful, unfortunately, but they succeeded in the end, and that's what we're going to do today. Nice successful story. So LNAV mode, so I have tried to program this, so that one does work on the yoke, throttle, sorry. Vertical navigations. Feel like we missed a step here. And then 180. There we go. Use my knob on my new stuff. Good, I do recommend the honeycomb if you want high quality. Just be aware it can be a bit pricey, but I think there's probably more expensive equipment and there's cheaper equipment, obviously. There's your damper and mic trim. And we have transponders, so we'll just squawk. Right, we've got to be careful what numbers we put in there. We keep getting the bad ones. So I think there's a way to put it into standby mode. There we go. Heading, set to runway. We will do that when we get on the runway. Altitude, select. So initially climbing to, okay, VNAV's unavailable. 6,000 feet. 10,000. Looks like we're straight up to 45,000, everybody. This is so cool, right? Altitude. Yes, it's working. It's satisfying as well. Highly recommend it. Saves a heck of a lot of time. Okay, 45,000. Probably about 20 minutes to get up to that height. Minimums barrow, so difference here between minimums and barrow and radio. Obviously radio is for landing, barometrics for takeoff, so we technically want the QNH as well. And we're going to have to get the airport as well. So 24 departure runways and 1018. That's not too bad. 018. I think I have them synced up. Yes, I do. Yeah, minimum, so 1040 about. There we go. Okay, ground recognition, so we're going for the engine start. Cabin cockpit packs, we're off the whole time anyway. I think we're allowed to stick them on. Okay, right, engine start. Wait for it to get to 10%. The throttles weren't cut off actually, that's odd. Very odd. Introduce fuel. I think we can do it like that. Okay, the low pressure warning will disappear in a second. I'm going to monitor the fuel page. I'd be better off to use the engine page, that gives us a more accurate reading there. 60%. Left side coming on. And 10% introduce fuel, so the throttles do work, just make sure in the cut-off position before you start. The fuel flow is good. temperatures are good. Pressure's pretty good. Right, auxiliary pump should probably be off. Engine bleed air. Low pressure. Cabin and cockpit packs coming on. Blimey, it's 28 degrees in here. Jeez. Sorry everybody, we're going to stick those packs on. We're supposed to have, yet again, some very rich people on board. We'll stick it down to 15, but 28, 27 degrees, that's unacceptable for today's flight. So pressurization 45. We do need pitos. And we should have had window heats on first, I think. Or window air at least. Pressurization, pitot and static, flaps to... we'll just perform our initialization actually while we do that. We're going to climb normal speed, we're just going to go straight up. 12, 5, 0. Good, we got flaps 5 today. Climb, so V2, 139. Okay. Let's trim, we got the electric trim on the yoke of course. Rudder trim, yoke control, let's just check. Yeah, ailerons, elevators, spoilers. So yeah, the light switches on the yoke don't work, but the things on the throttle actually do, so I have to stick with this for now. Doesn't have to be changeable. We are clear to taxi. Let's get our... let's just check our departure. Runway 20. Right, we'll figure out where it is. Let's get the map. I'm not going to use any charts today for the departure, we're just going to do it bare bones. So 20. Not even in use. Not even in use by the airport, so we'll go down to runway 24. I don't know why they would give us that one. It's definitely 20 as well on SimBrief. Oh god, usually it doesn't take 26 minutes to get this stream before we even taxi, so I'm really appreciating anybody who's bared with me until this point. Parking brake released. Clear on the right, clear on the left, clear on the left, right, etc. And we're going to taxi. For some reason anti-ice. Oh, I see. Anti-ice is coming on. Just a small amount of thrust. It is a very fast plane, the Citation. It only requires really minimal thrust to actually move. So be down Tango, I think. Down Sierra. And then Tango. Or if we do change our mind, we'll go to uniform. Okay, that guy on the right, left is waiting for us. As you can see, the throttles are slightly out of sync. Okay, one's in reverse for some reason. Apologies. Yes, very odd. One of them kicked into reverse without my permissions. Let's take the left-hand turn. Almost get cracking. Any trouble with sound or with my voice, let me know. I'm always here to provide feedback and to try and change things. Try and make them better for the streams. We are growing as a channel, and I'm glad to see new people here and people coming back to enjoy the content. Yeah, so the honeycomb throttles are slightly out of sync with each other in terms of their position, but I think that's normal as well for real aircraft. Quick brake check. So we have changed our mind again since we're going to have to do that. As you can see, the departure kind of looks like an overhead departure. A little bit like an overhead departure there. We'll have to take runway 20, otherwise it's not going to work. As you can see, it has absolutely no issues there taxiing. Speed is sufficient. You'll probably find you have to do quite a lot of braking and citation X, especially if you use the ground idle high, which will kick the engines up to about 32% each. Oh, we're going the wrong way. This is going to be embarrassing. Now we're going the right way. Thank goodness we got something right. We'll do our pre-takeoff clearance. We'll do our pre-takeoff checks. Not much to do on pre-takeoff, to be fair. We don't turn the APU off until we're up in the air. We will kick the transponder on most likely, and the strobes. Just a super sophisticated plane though to get to grips with. I'm going to take the full length of the runway today. Yeah, so super sophisticated to get the grips. It's obviously Barcelona's a great airport actually just to fly from if you want to get some practice in it. Or if you want to practice, even if you want to just taxi around on the ground, it's big enough. So we're going to pull up here. Right, that's the door, everybody. Did have my brake pre-programmed with the buttons, so we put the park brake. As you can see, the checklist is automatic. So strobe lights fully up is on. Landing lights coming on. Text lights off. Transponder, so we're going to squawk. Make sure you click it. ATC on, altitude on. That will be a TCAS system that we're turning on. As you can see, TCAS, so traffic collision, avoiding traffic. Excuse me, traffic. I think it's traffic collision advisory system or avoidance traffic collision avoidance system. But then there's an alert system you'll get, and it'll tell you to climb or descend. I can't remember the specific name of it. So yeah, pre-takeoff check's already done. Alright, that's it. We just want to give the scan of the instruments. Everything's pretty good. We have in fact confirmed that it's runway 20. Course is correct. FMC is correct. Plenty of room there, and there's even aircraft that go all the way to the end and taxi down the dead zone. So when you advance the throttle slowly to about 40% per checklist procedures. All lights are on, there's no red lights or warning systems as of yet. And there we go, clear straight out. Engines are rising. We're going to keep advancing those throttles. There's no takeoff button or go around button. There's no toga. There we go. Speed comes alive. Engines come alive. 80. V1 rotate. Positive rate. Positive rate. Gear up. Slightly bumpy. Slightly bumpy. We'll wait for 1,000. There's 1,000. We're going to bring those throttles back to climb position. You can see how steep we can climb though, up to 20 degrees, but we don't want to do that. We want to keep it at least maybe 10 to 15 degrees at some point. Anyway, flaps and slats up. I think we've just put the slats down for takeoff. I didn't even realise. My mistake. It's so much time in the twin pistons, you see, that you forget about it in the bigger jets. Okay, it's supposed to be engaging autopilot, but the vertical speed is going to make the plane go all over the place. It's going to select the vertical speed about 240. If I select autopilot. Okay, so autopilot's on. One issue I've noticed, actually, I've not had this long, I've only had it like a day or two. With the throttle quadrant, the autopilot was disconnecting on its own when I was in the Baron, which was obviously uncomfortable to come back to the aircraft to find it nearly crashing into the sea. Just be aware that it may do that, so don't leave it on its own for too long. Okay, we're going to fly the departure route, which is a loop so far. We're going to increase our speed now to 250. You can see we're reaching 4,000 feet per minute. Suitable for absolutely everything in this plane, other than obviously short fields. Okay, altimeter barometric. Let's go for standard pressure. Above 10,000 feet. Landing lights coming off, and seatbelt signs are coming off. APU bleed air. Okay, APU's coming off above 10,000. Generator. Can't turn the master off when it gets to 0. Apparently we can do it now because it's about low enough, let's put it that way. Okay, above 18,000 is in lights checks, so above 18,000 we do the engine sync, and we've got a master caution. What's that for? That's probably for the APU going off. Anti-ice is already on. Cockpit's a little bit dark though, isn't it? Let's crank everything up, full brightness. Just about to see the blue light underneath the dash, underneath this center piece there. Accelerating to 270, so I believe it's 270 for the best rate of climb. Sorry, the best angle I think is 270 or something like that, and the best rate is 300 knots, so pretty fast. There was a reference list at the beginning of this thing, we can always go back and have a look at it. Okay, fan sync coming on. Half bank. I've had a little bit of issue with that before in the past. You stick half bank on and it won't follow the flight plan. Yeah, so it can't do the half bank. We're on the departure leg, we'll have to wait until we get to appropriate position. Same with the bleed air on the engines. You could probably put it onto high bleed air once you're above, you know, I don't know. I don't know what the official like height is, but we're above 20,000, so we can switch it to high pressure now. And that will allow us more engine air in. 45,000. As you can see, we're pressurising a bit slowly. We can increase the rate there about 500 feet, but we can increase it to about 1,000 feet per minute. 500 feet is comfortable, I think, for most people. If you go too quickly, you'll get sick. Thank you, Travel Buff. Welcome in as well. Just chat the chat, everybody. Traffic collision avoidance system is right. Thank you very much for reminding me. I say that's a pretty smooth departure actually. So in a smaller airport, typically you do an overhead departure, or you could do an overhead departure, an overhead join, etc. to a circuit if you're in a Cessna, but obviously we're in an international airport and it still has similar things. Now obviously that's a SID departure rather than an overhead, but it kind of looks like one, just the way he's flying there. Okay, officially en route, we have an ETA of about 2 hours. Block time 2 hour 15, 1:47 for the actual air time. All the way down to Malta. We're going to get there, we're going to hopefully see Valette. Valette is the sort of port area because you've got St. Paul's Bay, Pembroke, Attard, Marsaskala, and another one that I'm not going to try and pronounce, but they're all on that island. It's a tiny island, so it's really incredible actually that they even defended themselves to begin with. Bearing in mind the island would have been surrounded by ships, the ports would have been surrounded by, you know, the Ottoman ships. That's really quite incredible, that story is, and obviously they went on to succeed. If you wonder where Malta is, it's just south of Italy, northeast of Tunisia, right there in the sea, so it's quite warm down there. Kicking at -41, I think we should get the anti-ice on. One of the things X-Plane 12 does actually really well is the icing system and the actual icing effect. If you fly through ice and snow, you will get a build-up without the anti-ice on, especially pitot heaves. And we're at a whopping 31,000 feet already. That's record time. Go on flight time. 8 minutes to get to 31,000 feet. Let's take half bank on. Should be able to follow the route sufficiently at this point. It's so odd as well about the VATSIM not connecting. I usually have no problems with the V-Pilot software, or so excuse me, the X-Pilot software. All it says is there's a version 3.0.1, so 301 the version, and it just says waiting for connection to the game. Okay, good, we got a little bit of a tailwind. Not much, but that should speed up the journey. I'm going to step away from the cockpit to get a refreshment. Maybe all in the meantime. Hopefully my autopilot doesn't disconnect from the honeycomb throttle quadrant again, so I'll be back in a minute. I have returned, everybody. Just apologies for the silence. We're on cruise mode after all. Almost at 45,000 feet. I wanted you to all have a little bit of peace and quiet, to be fair. I'm just trying to debate whether I should turn walk mode on, but I think it might spawn me back on the ground. Yes, because I had a bit of issue there walking through the plane when we got on board. Also, the walk around is not a paid walk around, and it's not a free download either. It actually came with one of the add-ons that I've got, one of the plugins. So if you go back and watch, I don't want to tell you what it is because I think, so, you know, it gets to that point where it becomes very popular, and then the developers start charging for it. So we don't want that to happen. If you go back and watch my videos, you'll probably have to figure out which plugin it actually is. Or you can just comment on the video after and I'll probably tell you. That's probably the best way. But the walk around this feature is great. You can hear the footsteps, you can use your arrows to walk and check the exterior of the plane. When we're in the cockpit, I usually make do with the like back and forth buttons, so we can hop out here, look around. Just gonna leave the autopilot running. We've got 6,000 feet to go and we're still maintaining 270 knots, although we are climbing at 650 feet a minute. So yeah, go into the cabin like this, and that's how I've been moving around. But with the addition of that like included walk around feature, it just makes it so much better. In terms of differences while we're here, the Microsoft one obviously is based on a real plane. I wouldn't expect it not to be, but they've gone into a real plane. They've modelled everything really well. They've modelled the back toilet. They've modelled like the switches and the buttons and the lights. The sounds are real sounds, of course. So yeah, I think competition-wise, aside from Laminar Researchers being free and included great with the game, them 2 points are like crucial. I think crucial points to remember, that this is a free aircraft included with the X-Plane 12. The Microsoft one is paid. Obviously, you're gonna be paying for it, so you would expect it to be good quality, if that makes sense. But for a default version, you wouldn't think it would be this good. It's hard to say. So in other words, I still think the free version would trump the paid version. It's all the hype at the moment. It's all being talked about and streamed by people. I watched like one guy, and he streamed this aircraft I think 4 times in one day. So it just tells you like how much people actually love the Citation X. It is absolutely beautiful though. Obviously the differences include the IRS system, so Microsoft have in fact included an IRS system down here, and you can't interact with these buttons. The X-Plane button, obviously Microsoft, everything is interactable. This is just a voice recorder and things. These you can interact with, but these things you can't. So, but to be fair, how many people know what those actually mean? I can see what it means. I'm sure you can see whether they're standby. So that's the radar. It even says it. Then gain there, so sounds, but not crucial to the function of the aircraft, which is why Laminar's not made it clickable. Hopping back into the cockpit, of course you get the oxygen masks you can't interact with, but in X-Plane 12, anyone who's played it, just go to the view and then you can click oxygen mask on anyway, in case of hypoxia. And then of course over here you have pretty similar stuff, I think, to the Microsoft version. Going to look it up. I have to remind myself of the developers. Flight FX's Citation X for release for Microsoft, and as I say, that was on the 12th of July. Absolutely stunning plane. They've done a superb job of it, and it comes with an EFB. I'm not trying to push theirs over the Laminar Research one. I think Obviously I'm trying to get this point across. Both have their pros and cons. I only prefer the laminar one because it's included, and for an included plane it's 5 stars. So it's selling, the Microsoft one is $29.99. One-time purchase, and it will give you access to the aircraft in Microsoft 2020 and 2024, so you can use it in both games. Pretty cool. Okay, I think I can show you. Actually, I'm going to show you what it is. That's I think if I close, right, yeah, bear with me everybody, I'm going to show you the sites, and I'm going to show you the aircraft on their site now, so we can all look at it together. So you should be able to see the internet. Yeah, this is it. This picture here with this person in it, this is a game picture. This is not a real plane. This is insane. This looks, I mean, look at the features it includes. It's got everything. It's got custom FADEC. It's got real-time EPB. Realistic clutter and interactive cabin details. I like that. We like the immersion. Real sounds. Obviously, I watch those videos on YouTube. They've recorded them. I'm not trying to push their product, but like, as somebody who's tempted by it, you know, I am tempted to get this just for Microsoft and just play it for that plane, but we can't have everything. So go back down to the gallery. I'm going to open these. We can have a look through them. Trying to contrast the details. Obviously the exterior looks pretty similar. Those buckets look nice though, don't they? Interesting, they've gone for a RA tail number though, if it's an American company. Maybe that's one of the liveries, so inclusive on the liveries, that's good. Although there's another one there with RA on it. Cabin looks stunning. It does look a lot more detailed and high quality, I'm not going to lie, but that's just Microsoft, isn't it? It has that warm sort of game glow to it that we all love and enjoy. It'd be really cool if they based on a real plane, how they modelled the physics. I'm assuming they've used real airfoil parameters, etc. Yeah, that's that classic one that we have on X-Plane. And obviously on Microsoft you do get the addition of covers and things like that, which I'd love to see on X-Plane at some point. Innsbruck in the background. So I think that's all the pictures. They've not got many of the cockpit, that can be a little bit concerning. So they got one picture there of the cockpit and one of the cabin. Now usually if there was a good quality cabin, I'm not saying it's not, but usually they would show it off. So that tells me that there might potentially be something there that they don't want us to see. It does look really good though, the yoke. So this is actually an older Citation X that they've modelled. You can tell by the yokes, you can tell by the controls as well. And I mean the switches, I can already see the switches are different colours. The one in the X-Plane 12 is pretty consistent. The only thing that green and red is the green for the anti-ice and red for the hydraulics. But in this one I can see there's different colours down here. I know you can't see it, but I'm sort of zooming in. Hold on one sec. What was that? Autopilot. Kick that back into gear. Yeah, so maybe there's something there that we just don't know about. The autopilot's come off again. I think I know what it is, everybody. I'm pushing the trim wheel. It's doing it. So yeah, there might be something there, maybe a graphical detail or a lack of detail they don't want us to see. I'm not trying to say there is, but it's always the case with devs. Well, that's it. It's released now. Go ahead and check it out if you want, or just go ahead and get X-Plane 12 and use the default one. Either way, you're going to have a great time. I'm going to let you all sit in peace and quiet, and hopefully we can relax for the rest of the flights. I'm trying to figure out how to turn that off. There we go. Let you sit in peace and quiet. Any issues, any questions, let me know in the chat. Well, I hope you all had a good relaxing sleep during that flight. We are going to prepare now. We're almost there. We're just looking at the map. We set off from Barcelona, Prat Airport in Spain, and now we're on the way to Malta, and there's Malta down there. So as you can see, just off the south of Italy, you have the island. I don't know how long it would take to get there, probably not long at all. Just checking the fuel a second ago, it looks like we got... I thought we was going to run out for some reason, but it just looks like so much, so little when you look at it in pounds. So obviously that looks like a little amount of fuel, but in pounds, converted to kg, you're actually okay. One of the things I do wrong sometimes is put it in pounds rather than kg, and not vice versa. We could do a simple conversion of it, and it says about 400 kg left, so that's not too bad. That'll probably get us there. We've been flying now for 58 minutes, so maybe that is quite a bit of a stretch left to Malta. I just wanted to check in either way, just checking on you all. So 252, we didn't get up to 45,000 excuse me, but the aircraft, because it wouldn't climb, I mean it might be to climb now because we're a bit lighter and go to our full cruise altitude. We did have 47,000 feet programmed in. It's coming up on the FMC 47,000, and then performance cruise 41,000 there, so I don't want to exceed. I mean we're at 41.5, so I don't want to really exceed that just at the moment. Where's El Prat? So Barcelona. It's good to fly around here, so you can see all the red, the mountains, the heat. We'll do some more flights here in the future. Obviously, Citation X is good for getting in and out the airports. It has that ability. It's a big aircraft still. It's still quite a large size, but it does well. Especially if it's a tricky landing, like something a 737 couldn't handle. The Citation X might be able to. I noticed we had good viewership at the beginning, so thank you everyone for coming in at the beginning. Thank you to everyone who's either still here, came back, stopped in, whatever. Great to see you on the double check the date on the Wednesday, and we'll continue. I want to do a stream every day this week. I haven't done one on Monday and Tuesday because I was waiting for the throttle quadrants and I was waiting for some other stuff, but I want to get one done tomorrow and Friday, and hopefully Saturday and Sunday, and then we'll just continue as usual next week. Going back to the flight plan, so 6 pages left. That doesn't mean that's 6 pages a cruise, that's just 6 including the alternate as well. So technically there's not even that many left. Okay, there's fuel level, so perhaps I was right, we do have low fuel. Could be a potential issue. Do we cruise at high altitude to burn less? I don't think that's going to work. Let's just change. Yeah, heading works. Change that, and we will. Give me a sec. Top of the descent is way down there. I think it's because we spent so long on the ground and trying to get connected to the airplane. It wasn't that long, but because the APU burns through the fuel, it probably burned through, and obviously the taxi was quite a long time as well, so it's probably burned fuel through it. And also if you go into iOS, it doesn't give you how much flight time you got left. As I say, about 400 kg though, that's slightly out of balance. Perhaps we should do a crossfeed on, and let's see if that'll balance the fuel out. Only on the left side though, not on the right. If we do have to, I will. Let's just do it now. I don't want to cheat, but I also don't want to risk it, so I'm going to just cheat mid-air and refuel. So there's been a few things today that went wrong with the VATSIM and the fuel situation being one of them. Expecting runway 3 pre-1 for arrival. We don't have a star procedure, we don't have anything else. We're just going to go straight to GZO, go to Luasca, and then direct to Lima Mike Lima, which is Malta. It's actually called Malta. I'm talking about Malta Island, but the airport I think has a different name to it. Nope, Malta International, my mistake. Alternate airport, Lima India Romeo Foxtrot. Okay, I don't know why that's, excuse me everybody. Why is that popped up? I did a video on the ex-CPL pilot last week, did in the Cessna 172, just building that aviation empire, building up those hours. I have many hours on the sim of course, but on that particular plug-in I have not many at all. So I'm not able to fly the Citation X for money yet. There is of course add-ons for it off the store, I think like Flight Simulator Economies being one of them, and I think that's from Just Flight 2, so yeah, Just Flight seems to put out some pretty good content. I am curious, so I'm going to start ascending. I'm going to go up to 45,000. Let's see if we can do it. We've just refueled a little bit, but we probably should have climbed before we refueled. Anyway, 45,000. It's like so there's no on the throttle quadrant. I would have liked to have seen. They didn't choose to put on yaw damper or flight director onto the buttons, which I find quite strange. They have heading, nav, approach, reverse, alt, vertical speed and speed hold, but they don't have a flight director or a yaw damper switch. They would have been pretty crucial, I think. And the same with flight level change as well. There is switches below you can use for it, but it's not the same, is it? So let's go in vertical speed. Let's start climbing. I'm going to put a little bit of power in. Climb power. I'm going to climb it to 45,000 feet. You can see their speed is dropping pretty rapidly, so you got to keep an eye on that vertical speed. So we're aiming for, I'd say, 1,200 feet per minute. That's pretty ambitious actually, so let's crank it down to 1,000. And it's handling that pretty well. So obviously we've burned off the majority of the fuel, we still got a full cabin on board. We have, so this is good performance testing really, with full cabin, we've got a lot of baggage on board, so that would be how the aircraft was tested initially, and that would be how all the parameters and figures came out for it. They usually test aircraft fully loaded when they come up with the performance factors, performance data. Okay, so you can see that speed dropping. Let's decrease it to 700 feet per minute. Thousand feet to go. We've done pretty well up to now. Don't exceed climb N1 on at this altitude. Like when you're lower down, it's okay. If you slip into takeoff mode by accident, but not at this altitude. The air is thinner and the aircraft's more susceptible to come out of control and lose control very easily. Well, it's handled the climb extremely well, better than I suspected it would be. We're never going to reach 47,000 feet. I don't know what the FMC wanted us to do there. 47,000 was way too ambitious. There's 45,000, we're going to hold that. And reduce throttles ever so slightly down to cruise mode. So actually one of the differences I was talking about the Microsoft version earlier compared to the X-Plane. X-Plane doesn't give you the option to change those N1 bugs, so you can't position them, even though you can perform the calculations for the performance, you can't change, it doesn't change these bugs here, it tends to be the same no matter what, so that means that cruise and climb thrust is going to be way too much, and even the takeoff thrust, these just seem to be generic parameters they've put in. Usually we could calculate the N1 thing down there and it would come up with the bug on here, and then you'd be able to change it. It also looks like it's changeable. I don't know, maybe it is. I haven't figured out how to do it, but my guess is it's not actually available to change. You have to stick with what's set. So we're cruising now, we've got cruise thrust, but that's way too much. We probably need about 87, 88 or 87% on the N1. So as you see, reducing it very, very cautiously. Make sure we don't have a huge drop in speed. Okay, there's the top of descent. Love it, absolutely love it. Nothing gets better than a little bit of flight simming on a Wednesday or any day of the week actually for that matter, and now I've got the gear, it feels even better. Top of descent, straight into Malta Airport. We're straight in from runway 31. No, absolutely no need here for a star procedures at all. We're going straight down. I'm going to go straight down. Quite a high approach. Well, we'll go GZO as I initially said, to about 6,000 feet. So we'll go ahead and change that now on the altitude thing. It may start descending immediately. So we're just going to keep an eye on our vertical speed as well. I'm going to reduce the thrust just in advance. We are going to get the checklist open. So X checklists, descent. Today we weren't November 750 X-ray Papa. I actually had my flight plan and tail number as Charlie 75 X-ray Tango. So we'll assume that 5 X-ray Tango is called for descent, clear for descent. We reduce that thrust back because I predict that it's going to pitch down quite rapidly, and we're going to change the altitude all the way down to 6,000 feet. Just allow that speed to drop off a little bit. So we haven't changed. Let's click. Keep that thrust up until we start descending. That's good. And there's the reference VTI. We can do flight level, as I say, flight level change. We can do vertical speed. We're going to let the aircraft do it itself. It's pretty capable actually of flying itself, the Citation X. Aside from being a little bit tricky in the handling on landing, it's a pretty stable aeroplane actually overall. As you can see there, speed has come down to about 200. That will prepare us for that descent. So it hasn't descended as I hoped. Wonder why it's not descending. Maybe we have got vertical navigation on, so maybe we're encountering an issue here again with X-plane. Let's go flight level change. Maybe we're too slow or too fast. There we go. We're going to descend now. I should be able to adjust the speed. Let's turn that off. Auxiliary pump is off. Auxiliary fuel pumps are off as well. Don't have to worry about that until below 18,000 and then get the APU back on and things. You don't even have to worry about the seatbelt sign until we're below 10,000 feet. We'll have to get the local QNH. I'm going to use Habitat, but that's what I've got the plug-in for to use it. Yep, so as you can see, straight into Malta. It's going to be a great landing. Lima, my Lima. Really cool way to get the QNH as well, using the aviation tablet there, or aviator's tablet. We're going to preset that, so 1014. It's not as high pressure as I thought it would be. We're still on standard. We just have to click standard off and it'll go down to what we've preset, which is really cool. And the same on the backup as well. We're going to do that pre-level off, so we'll do it now. That gives our real altitude when we get down. We're going to check the arrival for the runway, so nothing's coming up at the moment. I've got a feeling that this might actually be quite a small airport, but excuse me everybody, but it seems like a normal runway like length. So 3-1 ILS category 1 approach. 11,000 feet, so it's pretty long. Don't have to worry about that. Course, we do need to set course of 311. That'll probably be automatic on landing. ILS frequency is 110.5, so that's pretty typical as well. You see there's the flag on the indicator there changing, and that's the course change as well, so we can set our course. Maybe we can't set our course on there, so we can change it. We could set it to 311 for the landing, that'll probably be automatic then, so course, ADF, etc. And everything there's a bit concerning. But that should change the move when we get a bit closer in. It's pointing this way but not the other way. We'll have to circle overhead for the landing. What else do we need to do? So we need to program it down here as well. 0.5. Like I say, in the past I've done this and it's not worked. Even if you do it properly, it sometimes doesn't register, and then you have to click explain map, etc. and do it that way. Total flight time 1 hour 20 minutes. We're actually doing pretty good. We had a half an hour on the ground initially. And an ETA of about 5-10 minutes. Hopefully. Okay, runway 31. ILS. Not going for any RNAV approaches, we're just going to go for the bare bones. I'm not going to bother with a start procedure. Let's activate that. And so there's the line, so we'll have to take that turn up and then do a U-turn. I'm going to hand fly it, I think. That's what I got the hardware for, to hand fly these approaches. Makes it so much more interesting. You see the lever works, it's making a strange sound though if you put it into the arm position on the throttle quadrant. No problems deploying it though. Just that strange sound, I don't know what's causing that. Didn't have that issue yesterday on it. Sounds like it's attempting to do something. Okay, pull it all away. I think as if you keep it in the middle it causes problems, probably because of the airflow actually over the wings, so it's not locked in place that we're shaking it about. Bring those throttles way back now, going for a really steep descent. Let's bring out the slacks. We're a little bit lower down, we can increase our speed. To 250. Not the most comfortable experience for the people on board at the moment. They're sort of at the receiving end of my experience experiments. Apologies about that. We do have a customer service, but most of the time they're not staffed, so please feel free to complain directly to me. 250 knots is our target speed. We'll probably be coming in a lot less than that, obviously. So what we're going to do is going to quick performance check again for the landing. 3-1 pre-programmed, 28 degrees outside. We're doing alright in cabin temperature. We're still still pressurised to 6,000 to 7,000 feet as is standard. Slow, say 0%. Pretty low VAP there, 116. I'm going to add another 5 knots onto that just in case. VAP is usually the reference plus 5 knots, but Citation is a big jet, so you want that extra speed. 125, 130 is more than enough, but any slower and you probably end up struggling to control the plane on final. If you can bear with me, I hope that noise isn't too annoying, so I'll keep it trying to get the spoilers out so we can increase our descent rate. There we go. There's Malta. If we've got an NDB, let's tune that. I'm just going to come down and there's the I'll go nav 2. Yeah, straight around for the U-turn. Looks like we're heading towards the DME now. So we want that on screen. We want to see the reference. I'm just going to keep the ADF on there as well as an indication. Usually don't pick it up within 10 nautical miles of the airport with an X-plane, although it can vary depending on the location. And of course the ADF can be indicated on there as well along with the course. Yeah, so it's the same thing. The blue hour is the ADF. Excuse my voice, everybody's really cracking today and really dry. But the ADF, yeah, completely functional. It's very rare that an airline, if you're in an airline or even commercial, like how often are you going to use these things to fly with unless you fly in a DME arc? But it's not typical approach. Yeah, below 18,000 feet, engine sink. Half bank coming off now. I think that's about appropriate. APU, of course. Generators and maximum cool. In fact, now we're descending, we could put the pressure from the engines back onto low. Clear that master caution. So I just checking there, this quartz, I think that's the APU time, so about 10 hours. I think I don't knowing how many hours I've done, that's probably 100 hours. Would not surprise me at all. So there's the ADF. Both the primary flight director thing, primary flight display here is indicating the ADF is changing, and so it is on the backup as well. That's pretty cool. We could always do an NDB, but I suspect if we do need to go around, it'll be to the GZO VOR, and then we'll do another approach that way. There's no, as I say, in these kind of aircraft, it's not typical to do an NDB. You may do that if your other systems aren't working. I've never ever seen a Citation do it. It's just a good reference though to have as a backup. And of course we've got it up here as well. Yeah, so go around back to GZO if we need to, and we'll go straight back up to 6,000. $3,000 it will be for the approach. Then again, if we do need to go around, we can go back. I'm tempted to say 6,000 just in case, but still probably okay about 4,000 feet. 3,000 or 4,000, that is. Okay, slowly start to decrease that descent rate by adding some thrust in. ICAO's coming off. We're outside of the main issues now. Still got to worry about clouds. There's no clouds around though. Could probably put heat off at this point. It's only needed rarely for icing conditions. Below 10,000 feet. Landing lights. Passenger lights on. Altimeter, so now we switch from the barometric, which is for the departure, back to the radio minimums, which is 200 feet. Seems to be pretty standard on most aircraft, including the 737. We could always change it. We could always say 250 feet, for example. But today we're at 200. Transition altitude 6,000 feet. Let's set the QNH, so we click standard, and that preset number that I did earlier is coming alive now, so 1014. Edinburgh to runway 310, heading, that follow the pink arrow as well. Vertical speed, 1,000 feet to go. Introduce that for us slowly. Decrease the descent rate. I'm going to stick 5 knots of flaps and probably a little bit closer because judging by this map we're a little bit far just yet. So straight down here, so there's the DME. VOR will come straight down and the map's giving us a U-turn. I don't know what side it'll be, I don't know if it'll be left or right. Probably a left hand turn. Straight onto this one, we're going to do that just in case it doesn't work. I don't have to fiddle with it on final. As you can see though, Isle of Malta is directly ahead of us. Even got a little... you can see why they defended it so successfully. Sort of. Obviously it takes a lot of willpower and strength to do that. But the landscape itself, quite quite a lot of high terrain on it. You know, there's a good amount of hills, so they would have had, like here for example, you know, that would have given them the upper hand over the island. And the ports and things, and the castles, and the all the defences they had in place. What's our VNav giving us the speed? So it's giving us 250 still. Let's maintain a little bit faster. Five degrees of flaps. Just about. It's hard to tell with the throttle quadrant because it's not a click thing, so you have to slide it. It's a best guess next to the numbers if it's going to be accurate or not. Should be about to pass over it. Hopefully that'll give you more of a size. Yes, size is pretty good. Sufficient, I'd say, to land, but still a little bit on the small side. Always feels too small when you're in the air. We'll just park wherever we need to. I didn't see any charts there on the heavy tab for the airport. Unfortunately, we can't see parking, etc. So stick with the X-plane, but it'd probably be GA parking at this point. Maybe, in fact, we could taxi straight off the end of the runway if we don't get off earlier. I'm going to do it manually at this point, so we're going to just program in the final, if we can, from Circle. And I'll fly it myself. We're going to have to do it myself so I can turn out a little bit, so autopilot's coming off. I will stick the approach mode on now. So we're ready for it. Take that outbound turn. Okay, the approach we need to be less than 210. Let's just crank the speed down. 210. Altitude is going to be free. I just keep it at 3,000 feet for the go around. Heading is set to the runway. Landing lights, passenger signs are on. Flaps are on 5. Below 210 for about 15 degrees of flaps. We won't start descending until we're actually established on the runway 31 localizer. 15 degrees of flaps. Really going to create some drag, that is. And we slowly start that descent. A little bit harder than controls. It is a heavy plane today, like I say, fully loaded. Landing gear down. We'll do that when we get on final. I'm going to turn final now, nice and short. Extremely hard to see as well, it's quite hazy outside, probably from the heat. Our speed has dropped down considerably, about 160, it's not too bad. A little bit slow though, we want to be about 170, 180. I don't know why VNAV's on, VNAV can come off. Do need the ILS approach. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit difficult to see this. Should be established on the runway now. We free one. You can see it just ever so slightly in the distance. Not the best view. How far we got to the runway, so let's wait till we get past this waypoint. All manual hand flown as expected on this channel. 8 nautical miles. 8 nautical miles final to runway 31. Gear coming down. Flaps full. Gonna keep those thrust ends, try and keep them around that percentage as much as I can without changing them. Between 50 and 55. Should balance us out on the descent. There's the puppy lights. Just about get a glimpse of them. I think we're a little bit high at the moment. No indication on our... Okay, we're not even selected it, that's why my mistake. We didn't select this localizer, but we were on track for it. As you can see, we're locked onto it. Coming at a good distance. You don't need it on the PFD, you can just look at the runway, of course. Slightly stronger than the crosswind. Hopefully they don't have a replay of that other flight where I almost crashed. Keep that speed up. Glide slope we're below because of the turbulence. Five hundred feet.
400.
Got a runway with a road right at the end of it. Almost like Gibraltar. You can see though getting below and over our minimums. We continue. Not too bad.
100.
Get your damper.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Okay. It's a smooth touchdown, reverses. Got a gear collapse or something. Reverses full. A little bit off there as the reverses came out. We didn't actually use thrust on the reverses, by the way, we just kicked the buckets. It's kind of typical actually for pilots to do that. Reverses disengaged. Stow that, flaps retracted. Mind your braking to see the turn off. Well, it wasn't too bad, but it's quite a nice runway. That's nice and tarmacs. Makes a difference to land here. Usually used to the ones that are cracked and full of things, but it's a good runway. That's huge runway actually. Suitable for an A380, obviously. Throttle's a little bit difficult there in the end to get used to with the landing. When you land, obviously I've not got rudder pedals yet, so I'm making do with the yoke controlling the steering. We're going to go ahead and park down there next to those smaller jets. Looks like Air France is there as well. So reverse thrusters came off, throttles, things were idled. Ground speed, let's just turn some stuff off now before we continue. So pitos, ground recognition lights, that's strobes, transponder to standby. On the lights off, tax lights on, flaps are retracted. Should be getting ticked off. Well, welcome to Malta everybody, hope you've enjoyed your flight today on Citation X. Looking forward to doing another one in the future. It's going to take a little bit more practice on the Citation with the throttle quadrant to get used to the controls. But we can do it. We're going to take the blue line today, we're a little bit different, smaller plane. And there we go. Nice looking buildings. Looks like there's it's not custom scenery, but it looks a little bit different than what I'm used to. Parking brake, slam that on. Taxi lights. Throttles. So unfortunately on the Bravo throttle quadrant you can't cut it off. If you stick it to the bottom position it will stick the reversers on. Anyway, we'll do it manually. Make the engines to cool down below 10%. Probably stick window heat off at this point. The engines have spooled down successfully, we can turn the beacons off. And aircraft doors. Seatbelt signs off. APU bleeder generator and APU switch off. Again, we have to wait for the APU to close down. Nice and busy at the airport though. Checklist is almost complete, we're almost done. Let's just switch that off. APU master bleeders. Cockpit packs. Recognitions and nav lights. Windshield heats off. Passenger oxygen no longer needed. In case of emergency, that is. Off. Wing transfers off. I'm going to use my switches for the fuel pumps. Ta-da! So it actually works on that, which is great. Standby power. Avionics. Generators 1 and 2. Wow, I absolutely love doing the checklisty flight in the Citation X. It works. There we go, we're walking officially. It works pretty good though, the Citation X with the checklist. It's fully functional with it, meaning that it's pretty realistic and it'll make the aircraft just more enjoyable. I mean, this feature now, walking around, makes it even more enjoyable. Look at it. Absolutely beautiful. Not the best parking. We are parked there though, that's our space. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. It's been pretty good actually. Let's do a bit of running. It's been pretty good to fly out here to another sunny airport and give you a bit of a tour of the Citation. Like I say, it's all popular at the moment with Microsoft, but don't forget X-Plane 12 has a pretty good one included with base game. So take care. We'll see you tomorrow for a propeller aircraft stream or a 737 stream. It just depends what I want to do. I think we might do the 737 one tomorrow, so it'll be Nigeria. Give you a bit of heads up for that. So see you then. Take care.